All right, it's 12:01 a.m. Is anyone awake? I'm awake. All right, it's our part two. It's part two of our stream. I started a little later than I thought I was going to. I know. Some people are up. Some people are up. Sarah, you were first tonight. Sarah's modding, and we got Josh and Jack. Christmas Lover, Brendan Berman, Louise, Callie Voltaire, Karen, Darth Tater, Darren Markley, Jennifer Herring, Too Sick, Mark French, Rick Hoppy. Rick says, I'm always up. So, yeah, this is our part two. Shaff is here. This is our part two. We did part one earlier, and then I went over to my brother's because I went to see my brother and my niece and nephew and my sister-in-law. So I watched the game with their family. I thought I was going to watch the first half. I ended up staying for most of the game. But I got to see them. So that was the point of going over there. And it's my niece's graduation tomorrow, and I got to talk to my niece. Oh, Linda Bell came over, and AJ as well. They're moderating along with Sarah. Thank you. Tina was catching up on part one. Arizona Jumpers here. John Gidry, Jerry S. I think Arizona Jumpers here. I don't know. Yes. Cherry Cole is here. Yeah, the Warriors, Celtics played better than the Warriors. What was part one for? Well, the idea was to do two, because I knew I was going over there, so we do some before and some after. You know. Also, part one, you know, some of the people who go to bed earlier could jump on part one. Budget Girls here, Gothamers here, Kimberly Barr, Ryan Hines. Ugh, this graduation thing. It's going to be all this traffic there and everything. I just hope it's not the case that I get to graduation and right after I get there, there's big news and I have to grab my car and come back because there'll be all this traffic. Eddie, good to see you, Eddie. That's so nice of you. Eddie made a donation. Thank you, Eddie. That's very nice of you. Eddie, what's going on? Eddie, are you on the road yet? Look, guys, it's Eddie Smith of Country Road Entertainment. Eddie, what's going on with the travels? Let us know. I want you to stream sometime from with us from your RV. Good to see Eddie. We haven't seen Eddie in a while. Eddie's undertaking a little RV living soon, I believe. Fahrenheit 451 is here. Roxanne Betke is here. Kevin Michael Reed. You missed part one? Well, you can go back and watch it. David Brooks is here. 77 Pool Bob is here. So it's going to be Toasty in College Station. Linda Gordon came back. Good to see you folks from part one. Did I say K Body is here? K is here. We'll see what Eddie has to say. But we are back for part two. Part two. Skip Fu is here. Good to see you, Skip Fu. Rudy Castillo is here. I've been worrying about this graduation thing for weeks now. Eddie says, having some challenges over here, couple of bad situations, so delayed on leaving. Will be moved into the RV this weekend. I'll tell you details offline. Can't elaborate till July 1st. So Eddie, I think eventually, Eddie has a YouTube channel where he posts his videos, like travel log videos. But he's going to start posting them again shortly. It's Country Road Entertainment. There's Eddie right there. See, that's him. But he hasn't posted in a few months, but he's going to go out on the road in his RV. So again, you can check his channel there, and I think he's going to be posting soon there. I hope he is. I love his Buc-ee's video. Walkthrough of the world's largest gas station. Check out his Buc-ee's video. I'll post the link to his channel. Linda says, whenever it happens, I hope you have fun. Yeah, Eddie, shoot me a message. Update on me on what's going on. But let me know when you want to jump on. I think Eddie is still in Arizona. Linda says, here I am in Texas and have never been to a Buc-ee's. Dallas Alice says, Buc-ee's is definitely experience. Eddie says, will do. Kay says she watched the Buc-ee's walkthrough video. Yeah, it's good. I've never watched this one. I should watch this one, Eddie. Maybe I'll watch that later. Exploring Route 66. This I've gone through. I don't know. Maybe the last I watched it was up to here, but I did go through the whole thing. I enjoyed that video as well. Sean TV is here. Sean says Buc-ee's is great. Amy Williams is here. Key says is here. It's early morning in the Netherlands where she is. Dallas Alice says the beaver nuggets are good, especially the salted caramel ones. Nicole is here. Wow, look, people are awake. Yeah, this is our part 2 stream. I was over, in between part 1 and part 2, I was over with my brother and my nephew and my niece and my sister-in-law watching some of the Celtics game. Naya Falgo is here. It's ya boy says, I feel tired, but I'll stay a little longer. Yeah, I thought I was going to watch the first half there, but I ended up watching most of the game there. It was good family time, you know. So, Eddie says, Buc-ee's is the best. I'll hit another when I'm out that way for sure. Food is amazing. I think your video talks about some of the food, doesn't it, Eddie? If I remember right. Excuse me. Yeah, see, look, if you go to Eddie's video, see, it says, there's a section called Fresh Food Area. Eddie says, I think so. I was there and can't remember anymore. I understand. Dallas Alice says the beaver nuggets are like sugar-covered puffed corn snacks. So the graduation, my niece's graduation is at 5. That's when the graduation is. We'll see what happens. Callie Voltaire says, Eddie, I loved your In-N-Out Museum video. Can't wait for more videos. So niece's graduation is 5. I'll probably leave here at like 4:15, and then there'll be all this traffic. And we'll see. I just don't want to. It'll be nice to see her graduate, but at the same time, I hopefully if there's news, it happens before and not during. But if there's big news during, I'll leave and I'll come back here. So, if they're actually having it inside, they've moved it inside because they're worried about it raining. So yeah, I have this fear that I'll get there, and right as I get there, there'll be some big news, and then I'll be trying to leave while everyone is trying to get in, and it'll be a mess. So, but what can I do? Now, I don't want to be in a situation where I can't get back here. But we'll see. Zipper is here. Is her class large? I want to say it's like 500 kids. Maybe. It's probably a few hundred kids. Linda says park close to the exit. Well, the other thing, Linda, is I don't know that school that well. So I don't know the school well enough to know where I should be parking. That's a whole other thing. I've been over there a few times, but graduation party. I don't know that I'm going to any graduation party. Yes, he says, will you come to my PhD defense? I'll actually be doing something. No, I've been over there. It's just, it's a little confusing, where exactly. No, I don't want to take an Uber. It's a little confusing, where on the campus it is. And I don't even know where they're going to have people park. I don't know how they're going to have it set up over there. I'm sure they'll have it all set up. I know they're messing with the roads and stuff. Tom Mix is here. Go early to get good parking seat. Nah, I don't want, but again, it's, then I go early and then there'll be some news right when I go. So I just, Linda says, do not park at the school, you'll never get out. Well, that's another thing, is when everybody, if there is no news during it, and then I'm there at the end, it'll take forever to get out. So I just don't, I'll do the best I can. The other thing, the other thing I remembered, which I'm really annoyed at, is this school has the worst cell phone signal. It's horrible. The cell phone situation there is horrible. So, and I don't know what it's going to be like in this gym or whatever that they're having the graduation in. When I went to see my nieces play there was no cell signal in the auditorium. You had to go out to the parking lot. And even in the parking lot, it was horrible. So I got to that's not good. I got to find a place I can check the news while I'm over there. So that's going to be that's a whole other source of angst to me. I just realized that tonight. I mean, there's not even cell towers outside there, on the whole school grounds. It's crazy. No, Jonah says, have people call you. How can they call me, Jonah, if the cell phone doesn't work? How are they supposed to call me? I mean, literally just your normal cell phone signal is not the Wi-Fi. Some of our viewers are saying that it's by design so the kids don't use the phones at school. I don't know. It's just, it seems like it'd be a safety issue. But like nobody can use their phone. But it's really bad over there. It's really bad. So I'm hoping like maybe like outside the gym, I can use my phone maybe so I can check periodically. That's real. It's really annoying. Do they have Wi-Fi for classes? I don't know. Does Nice have code? I don't know. It's a good question. But even, again, when I went to the play, even outside, I could barely get a signal. Linda says, Linda, nobody can call. If the cell signal doesn't work, no one can call me or send me a text. As I just said, the solution of somebody calling me does not work if my cell phone doesn't have a signal. How are they supposed to call me? I don't think people are understanding what I'm saying. The cell phone literally won't work on the campus of the school. That's how bad it is. Linda says, duh. So I need to try to figure out if there's someplace outdoors that I can get some sort of signal. It seems kind of ridiculous that on the whole campus you can't get a signal. Hey, Rusty G is modding too. Rusty G, Linda, Sarah. Oh, thanks, Karen. Karen says, hope everything goes well with graduation. I'm guessing, thank you. Karen, I appreciate that, Karen. Karen, I'm guessing it'll go well for my niece. For me, I'm not so sure. It will be stressful. It's stressful right now. Yeah, I don't understand, BZ. It's very confusing to me how I would think they'd want to cell signal to school for emergencies. Did I get her a gift? No, I'll get her something later. I'll talk to her parents about it and see what they think I should get her. She's not going to be sitting there tomorrow saying, "Where's my gift?" I'll ask her parents about it. I'll ask my brother about it. I went to my friend's daughter's bat mitzvah last October, and I wanted to get my friend's daughter a cameo where you have a celebrity record a message for them. And my friend really liked that idea. And the girl really liked the idea. But to this day, they have not told me. I have asked repeatedly. I said, just tell me what celebrity it's going to be so I can set it up. And they just haven't gotten back to me. So I still haven't got her gift yet. That's from 8 months ago. I have asked multiple times. 77 pull-ups, obviously another day, another crisis. This is a real crisis though, because I gotta be able to check news so I can cover big news if it happens. You know? That's my job. That is a crisis. Kevin, I'm deleting your comment. But I'll answer your question. Kevin, remember, this is not the agenda-free TV customer service chat. However, to answer your question, which I was also asked last night, no, I'm not covering the January 6th hearings because what would my coverage be? What would the coverage be? If somebody wants to watch the January 6th hearings, I can't talk over it because it's a hearings. So is it just me sitting there like this the whole time while while the hearings play? What's the coverage? Also, whatever you think of the hearings, I don't really think there's going to be earth-shattering news coming out of that. Whatever you think of them, whether you're positive or negative, I just have a hard time believing there's going to be some groundbreaking. I think it's important that they have them. The point is whether I'm covering it. If I'm going to cover it, there's got to be some big news happening and something I can add by covering it. What am I adding? Erica says, to be fair, all the lawyers talked over the Depp case. Well, I'm not doing it. Yeah, also, as Jonas says, like everyone's covering it. All the networks are covering it. There's going to be so much coverage of it. Kevin Michael Reed, not a problem. Not a problem. Not a problem. We have here, Alex Duncan is here. Karen says there might be something else besides that needs coverage. Yeah, if there is, I'll cover it. Kaylee N says, miss your lies about Ukraine, still so much happening there. I know there's stuff happening there, but it's day to day. It's not changing nearly as much as it used to. So yes, there are things happening there, yet I have chosen not to cover it. If there are what I consider to be big enough developments, I will cover it. When I imagine the January 6th hearings, what huge developments am I going to be broadcasting about in those hearings? Whatever you think of them. Krista Borden is here. I have certain standards. We cover certain kinds of things. I know sometimes people just want me to cover everything, but we don't cover everything. There's certain kinds of things we cover on Agenda Free TV, and that's it. That's what we cover. And I feel that should be obvious. If you're a regular viewer of the channel, that should be obvious. Peaceful Plants is here. E. Lear is here. BZ is here. Kaylee N, no problem. In case you missed it, I did get a garbage disposal today. The handyman came over. Oh, is Sean still watching? Is Sean TV here? Is Sean here? Sean? Sean? Mark Patoshnik is here. Peaceful Plants is here. It's okay. I mentioned I tried Sean's seasoning that he sent. It was very good. So next time he's around, I'll talk about his seasoning. His good blank seasoning. Good S word. I don't know if people watched the Celtics game tonight. Thank you, Linda Gordon. Linda says, good luck tomorrow. After 30 years, I do not go. So you're saying, Linda, you wouldn't go to the reunion? Is that what you're saying? Not the reunion, the graduation. Are you saying you wouldn't go to the graduation? Thank you, Linda. It's very kind of you. Linda Gordon. Oh, she's retired teacher. So she's saying she was a teacher for 30 years. Yeah, so she's had enough of it. Yeah, Linda was a teacher for years. Jonas says Steph may be hurt. Well, that wouldn't be good. The Celtics won. It didn't look great for Golden State. The Celtics just looked better. They looked bigger and faster and younger and stronger. The apartment's great. Still got to get some things set up, but the apartment's great. What else did I want to mention here? Yeah, and as I was talking about in part one, I'm gonna try to get this. I owe my friend this script thing, trying to get it done by the end of the weekend. I don't know if it's gonna get done. I'll try. I did some work on it today. Got to get it done. My friend was nice enough to hire me to write a little script for him back at the end of last year, but it kept getting delayed. So now I need to get it done. Then I have to use like this. I kind of need to use like this script program. If I could just like type it up all in Microsoft Word. He said he was okay with that, but I think he kind of preferred if I had to use a script program. So I kind of have to format everything correctly. It's really the right way to do it. So that'll take some time too. Hey, Sharon Heberling made it back for part 2. Hello, Sharon. We got some people up and awake. I got to take out my trash tonight. I got to do that. Got to get the trash out. As I said before, there's a big question whether they'll fix my broken garbage barrel, my broken waste barrel. They said, I reported it 2 weeks ago. They said we'll come one of the next 2 weeks and fix it on the day of your trash pickup. Well, they didn't come last week. So will they come next week and fix the crack in the bottom of my blue trash barrel? This is the question. AJ says, hope they fix your trash barrel. I bet they won't. I bet I'll have to write to them again. Here, once again, is the hole in the bottom of my trash barrel. There it is. See? It's a crack in the bottom of a trash barrel. That's the city trash barrel. Will they replace or fix it or just do nothing? When they didn't come... See, what happened is after the first week, last week they didn't fix it. And then they sent me a message saying issue is resolved. And I wrote to them back and I said, this is not resolved. It's still like this. And I sent them this picture and then I never heard back from them. Callie Voltaire thinks they need to replace it. I think so too. Dier says, we're lucky to get trash picked up here with the labor shortage. I never told you guys, I had a really weird situation happen with a viewer. This is very, very, very strange. I'm not going to say the person's name, but there was a supposed viewer who donated sometimes to the channel, and the person would message me on Twitter once in a while and also comment on my tweets and watch the broadcast, and was a supporter on Patreon. Okay. So fine, very nice of the person to be supportive. And then all of a sudden, this happened a couple months ago, I get a message. And some of the things this person said were sometimes a little odd, but whatever. Then all of a sudden I get a message on Patreon. And it basically says like, hey, I'm a relative of this person, who is like supposedly a young person. It said like, she unexpectedly passed away. And also all the things she was telling you about herself were not true. Like where she was in the world. And then the message starts like joking around about things and talking about that person. And the person was like I want to keep donating to you, but like the shirt that she was owed from Patreon, you can just send to me. And then it just starts making some jokes. Like it just seemed like a total fake. So like I can't imagine that my point is, it didn't make any sense. It couldn't have been true that this was a relative of somebody who just passed away, and they were like joking around in their message to me. And it was coming from the other person's account. The person wrote to me, the relative wrote to me on the original person's account and said, oh, by the way, and I had just gotten a message from the other person like a couple of days ago. By the way, this person wasn't where they said they were. And I'm their relative, and they passed away, and I'm now going to make some jokes about some things. It was so crazy, and then I've never heard back from the original person. So I didn't even reply because it was so disturbing. But the original person, I don't know, maybe the original person was like a fake person, but they did donate regularly to the channel. And they would once in a while, like comment on my tweets or send a message, like a bunch of you guys do. Kevin Michael Reed says, I bet they were one and the same person. Maybe they were. Maybe it's all one person. It was really strange. It was really, really weird. But they never asked me for anything. Like no one was asking me for anything. I was just being sent a donation every so often. And the person was a supporter for several months. This person had watched the channel and commented on stuff and donated for several months. And then all of a sudden, from their account on Patreon, this person says, I'm their relative. They were lying about where they said they were. They also have just passed away. Oh, and also I'm gonna make some jokes about some things. It was no. Erica says that they show up to Patreon chats. The person actually did say they were going to show up to Patreon chats and never did. The person never showed up to a Patreon chat. It's so confusing. Sarah says there was a YouTuber that got catfished from an active donating viewer of years. It was a weird situation. It's so... But this person never asked me for anything. They never asked me for anything. They were just supportive. Then at one point, I was supposed to send them like their Patreon mug or whatever, and they said, oh, send it to my relative. And they gave me the relative's address, and it did get there. So I just don't have an explanation for you. It was the strangest thing. It was so odd. It was kind of disturbing. Erica says maybe they were just bored. I don't know. I mean, maybe it was just like a person who had some issues and had created a fake identity or something. Now, I'm not going to say the name. That's beside the point. Oh, also the person who wrote to me, who the last message I got was from the relative who had somehow gotten into the original person's account, was informing me the original person was dead. The relative said, made some claims about themselves. And then they said, but don't Google me. They kept saying, don't Google me. Which just makes no sense. Why would you say that to somebody? But again, the person never asked me for anything or anything like that. So I don't know. I don't know what to say. Maybe it was all the same person. But there was nothing for me to say in reply. I mean, what I didn't know what to say to that. So I kind of just left it. Hazel Fairuzi is here. Yeah, by the way, the person gave a name and said something about themselves that I did Google and I didn't find anything. So I don't know what was going on. Callie Voltaire says, hope they are not dangerous. Well, I haven't heard back from them since. But again, it's very, very strange. And also, again, the person was regularly donating. That's the other weird thing. Also, again, this person was supposedly relatively young and had recently, messaged on Patreon. And then 2 days later, the relative is somehow in their Patreon account saying the person passed away. But how did they pass away? What? So it's very odd. Oh, Alexandria, I'm timing you out. You're breaking the no news rule. You're also posting news from 12 hours ago. You're also posting news that I posted about on Twitter hours and hours ago. Linda says, were they hacked? I don't know. Maybe it was one person who had multiple personalities or something. It's just, the whole thing is so odd. It just made no sense. Anyways, if I ever figure out what happened, I'll let you know. Logger in camp says, I'm guessing an ill person. Yeah, Rick says you did the right thing in not responding. I just didn't even know what to say at that point. It didn't make any sense. Reggie is here. Josh says multiple personality disorder. Maybe that person is watching right now. They might be watching right now. If they are watching, please, if you want, message me and explain what happened. Blackwind is here. No, I don't think the person who went to look for me at the UPS store was Misha. Why would she go to the UPS store? Hey, Kim Hayes is here. Scott Bixler is here. Bridget, again, condolences again about your husband. Condolences to your family. Ryder is here. I mentioned earlier I'm going to have a grocery crisis here soon. I think after tonight I'm going to be out of tomatoes. Running low on tomatoes. I'm getting close to being out of salad. That's a problem too. Linda says nobody can send tomatoes. SoCal, I don't like the tone of your comments. You just got timed out. Watch it. Temporary username looks suspicious as well. Hey, thanks to our mods. Sarah, AJ, Linda Belk. I think Rusty G is here. And Lizzie, I think. Thank you. Also, Audra Gart is here. Marzell is here. King B is here. By the way, if you didn't watch it, last night we did a stream. and I talked about all this stuff I brought to my nieces. So you might want to check that out. That's a Tuesday night stream. Now, I don't really have time to play games. If I had a lot of extra time in my life, maybe I'd play some games. I'm just have other things I have to do. Like finish this script. It is June 9th, by the way, so we have about 51 days, 52 days? No, 21, 52 days until I get the downstairs. You know what'd be nice? When I have downstairs, like, if I wanted to watch some of a game with my nephew, say, my brother, I don't have a couch here right now. I have anywhere to put it. So if I put a couch here, then they can come over here and watch some of a game. And then if there's news, then I can just go right on the air. So that'll be good. Scanning audio is here. Callie Voltaire's 51 days before couch time.
Welcome
Oops,
to
that's my voice. I'm in Boston. I'm in Newton, Massachusetts. Cynthia says, throw a party. No thanks, I don't think I'm going to. Hetty says, did anyone watch Miss Marvel yet on Disney? I don't even know what Miss Marvel is. What's Miss Marvel? Miss Marvel is a TV miniseries for Disney Plus, says Wikipedia, based on the character Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel. Who's Miss Marvel? Premise: Kamala Khan, a fangirl of the Avengers, struggles to fit in until she gains her own powers. Miss Marvel. Rusty G says it's Disney Plus, Marvel, MCU stuff. So much superhero stuff. Hetty says it looks good. Hetty said it looks good. Got a 77 on Metascore, 5.0 user score. Erica says, I keep confusing it with Mrs. Maisel. That's like a bad sketch idea. Marvelous Miss Marvel. She does stand-up, but she has superpowers. There you go. Marvelous Miss Marvel. I always get a bit antsy when it's slower news-wise. Just what happens. But then it changes. Maybe next time I go to the grocery, I'll buy the popcorn so we can do the popcorn stream. We haven't done a cooking stream in a long time. Yeah, Cynthia Moon stuff always happens. It always does. Hopefully it doesn't happen while I'm at graduation where there's no cell signal. Erica says, you jinx it, then everything happens at once. That's what happens. It just gets crazy. Right. I agree with Tom Mix. Hopefully no more shootings. I mean, there will be more shootings, but hopefully no huge ones. TFG moderator says hurricane season has begun. Right, so there could be some weather. We'll have to see what happens with all of that. The last couple of years, well, Ukraine was this year. The height of the pandemic was 2020 in terms of when we were covering it, because it was new then. Those are two pretty huge stories. The pandemic starting in 2020 and then Ukraine earlier this year. I don't know if there will be as big a story as either of those this year. Those are both enormous stories. And both things you never would have expected. Erica says monkeypox. Oh, we did a stream on monkeypox. I mean, you know, it's not like the COVID. It's not like COVID. Lulu says, can't deal with another bad hurricane season in New Orleans. Some of us still have tarps. Some people don't have walls. Yeah, no, I agree with Tom Bombadil about the if North Korea does a nuclear test, that could be a big deal. I mean, that could happen at any time. I don't know if they're going to do it, though. We'll see. Right, Rick says, I hope they're... Yeah, that's not a bad thing to hope. Rick says, I hope there are no bigger stories than that this year. I agree. I agree with you there. I remember there was one time we went like a month without being on agenda-free TV. I forget when exactly that was. That was like a year and a half ago. But as I've said before, I can't make the news. It's not up to me. There was a story today that everybody was freaking out about. People kept messaging me about it. The military plane crashed and it had nuclear material on it. Of course, it ended up not having nuclear material on it. Still bad that it crashed, though. I mean, those happen once in a while, but still bad that it crashed. But anyways, everybody wants to freak out about everything and immediately assume it's a giant crisis and disaster. Callie Voltaire first watched us the night of the Surfside collapse. That was awful. Erica says, wasn't there one with a bomb in the 70s that crashed? I vaguely remember something like that. Mother's mustache likes that we separated the channels. Well, we didn't really separate. We created Lookner after the original one. This is the one that I think Erica is talking about. Air Force Times. In 1968, an American bomber carrying 4 nuclear bombs crashed onto the sea ice in the northwest corner of Greenland. Radioactivity was released because the nuclear warheads had been compromised. The impact from the crash and the subsequent fire had broken open the weapons and released their radioactive contents, but luckily there was no nuclear detonation. Erica said in 1961 there was a crash where a plane was carrying 2 bombs. Ugh. Andre, you can take your crazy pro-USSR propaganda, pro-Russia propaganda out of here. Take it somewhere else. All that garbage, Andre. Just nuts, lying garbage. Here's another crash that Erica was talking about. A crash in 1961 where a plane carrying 2 nuclear bombs broke up in midair, dropping its payload in the process. One of the bombs came close to detonating. Wow. That was near Goldsboro, North Carolina. Maybe that's the one Erica was originally talking about. Interesting. Yeah, Mother's mustache. I saw your message. I'm guessing we'll be doing some Supreme Court coverage in the next couple of weeks too. There's a couple. I mean, there's obviously the abortion stuff, and there's possibly a couple other big rulings they'll do that we'll cover. So we'll see. I'll be keeping an eye on that. Yeah, Sarah says, then people will wonder why you're not covering every court case. Yeah, Rick has been watching since 2017. Nice of Rick to watch. Fahrenheit's been watching since the Cave Boys. Blackwind is here. You couldn't have been watching since 2016. I don't think I was on in 2016. Sarah says, crazy how long it's been, and some of those things feel like they just happened. I mean, the channel in a way is made for certain things. When there's certain kind of big stories, that's what the channel is made for. Really, that it can do a good job of covering stuff. But the problem, it's just the nature of it is that you don't know if and when that stuff is going to happen. It's just an odd thing. You're sort of, the channel itself is like this. You create the capacity to cover something, but you can't, I mean, whether you do end up covering stuff or not just depends on what actually happens. So you just don't know. You have no idea what's going to happen. You're creating a capacity to cover. It's very strange. Anyways, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Maybe next year. Maybe next year I'll do the trip where I go overseas or something and visit some viewers and we do some live streams or something. That's like for next year. It might happen. No, I didn't eat anything at my brother's house. Marzell says, I got my sewing table to my new sewing room today after nearly 2 whole years. Naya Falgo says, come to Bahrain, I'll host you. I'd love to visit Bahrain one day. Believe me. But I'm glad you guys enjoy the coverage. Find it helpful. Oh, you know what I wanted to mention? Hey, Brian Heffron is here. Hi, Brian. How are you? You know what I did want to mention? I had written this down. So I've been working on this script for my friend who hired me to write this short script for him. I started working on it in November, and then it got delayed. And so now I have to try to turn it in by the end of the weekend. But something I learned when I was in grad school is I used to always try to get everything done at once when I had to write something like a paper. And I would try to write for hours and hours and hours. And it didn't really work very well. And eventually, I discovered a couple books on writing. They're really good. But this guy, Robert Boyce, wrote a couple books about writing. And something he talks about is, rather than trying to do it all at once, breaking it up into smaller chunks. So one of the ideas he talks about is that there's just diminishing returns when you work on something. So it's actually, you can sit there and say, I'm going to work on this for 7 hours, if you have 7 hours, and it's not very productive. And I do find, I started doing this in grad school, but I'm doing it now with this script. I don't sit there for 8 hours and work on it. I work on it a bit each day. And part of what you do, part of the method is, even if you feel like you're writing well, you stop yourself at a certain amount of time. You say, that's it for today. I'll come back later, tomorrow. And it keeps your mind fresh. When I used to try to do too much at once, I would just waste all this time. But I find that spreading it out over a number of days, I'll feel kind of wiped one day. I'll just kind of reach my limit one day. And then the next day I come back and I'm like, oh, I thought of some new ideas I totally didn't think of yesterday. So it's any kind of writing project I'll actually grab the book and show you the book. But these books are really helpful. But it's just this. There's these other strategies too, like when you're working on some writing project. Just there's this temptation to try to get it perfect the first time. But rather than do that, there's another way you can do it, which is just when you start writing, just start. Don't even worry if stuff is spelled right or if it even makes sense. Just get some stuff down, and it kind of works its way out. And there'll be time later to make sure you're getting it all right and everything like that. So there's just some really, I guess my general point is I found these books about writing super helpful, and I wish I had learned this stuff earlier in life. And also, it just makes the whole writing experience so much more pleasant, because you're not, trying to carve out 7 hours in one day to write, and then it doesn't work out right, and then you're really angry at yourself and stuff. It just keeps it's so much better just doing bits of chunks, low pressure chunks over time. Kevin says, in grad school, they taught us to do the vomit draft. Just get it on the page. Rick says, when you're creating, it's so easy to lose perspective coming back to it the next day. I had never really read books about how to get work done. So it was very helpful. Christine says it's best to split it up for sure. I'll show you the books. They're really helpful. Where is it? If I can find them here. Where are they? Here's one. So, you know what it was? This guy, Robert Boyce, I read it when I was in grad school. And this book is called Advice for New Faculty Members. But it's not just by Robert Boyce. But it's not just for faculty members. It's for anyone who has to do writing projects or big projects and is a busy person. But it's really interesting. I mean, some of the things he says is it's like learn to stop yourself. Stop in a day before you actually get tired of writing. Oh, and another, and he's really big on if you have a big project, just work on it a bit every day and you'll get a lot done. Another really interesting thing he talks about is, what was I going to just say here? What did I forgot. I'll have to look it up. What was it? Oh, this is there's some really good advice in here about this. The idea is, I think probably we all have that feeling where there's something we need to work on and we're not that psyched to work on it. And we sit around and we procrastinate and then it takes you forever to start because you're waiting to feel motivated before you start. And something he writes about is he says, look, once you actually start working on something, even if you think, I'm going to hate this, a lot of times you start working on it and then you get really into it once you're actually working on it. It's much easier once you get started. And so he gives this advice, which is just don't wait till you're motivated. I think it says start before you're ready. So the idea is if I got to work on some project, if I had a paper to write or something, if I sit there and wait until I really feel like doing it, I might never feel like doing it. But if I literally just make myself start, even though I don't feel like I'm ready to do it, once I actually start, it has a way of actually, you just you get into it more. And it's really good advice that I think is helpful. So I do find once I actually make myself start working on something, that I get much more into it. It's just the sitting there beforehand saying I don't want to start yet. Rick says, right, motivation comes after. So I just had never really read any stuff like this about how to work. And it's very helpful. So there's two books of his I have, and they talk about some of the same things. One is called Professors as Writers, a self-help guide to productive writing. And one is called Advice for New Faculty Members. But really, they're not just for professors. It's for anyone who has writing projects, or anyone who just has projects to do while you're busy, or anyone who just has big projects to do. I think it applies to all this stuff. It's very good advice. I'll post the links, but so it really changed how I approach things. So with this script I have, years ago I would have said I got to write it all in one day, and then, and I wouldn't have allowed to myself to just work on it a half an hour here, 40 minutes here. Maybe once in a while I work on it for longer than that. But it's amazing how much you can get done by just regularly and not waiting for a perfect time, just fitting it in somewhere. The other night I knew I had a half an hour. So I said, I'm just going to do a little half an hour of work. That's it. And it was very productive. But it's just, if you've never read stuff like this, I think it can be very helpful. It was very helpful for me. Tally Voltaire says, an object in motion stays in motion. Same with writing, you just have to start. And I know Marzell talks about free flow thought writing, and Rick Hoppy talks about brainstorm. And that's another thing is, with writing. It's letting yourself just sit down and brainstorm some stuff. Low stakes, low pressure. Anyways, I'm gonna share the books, share the titles, because I found them very helpful. It's crazy though that it took me a long time to discover these things. I don't even know how I discovered. I think I discovered them when I was starting to work on my dissertation, which I never finished because I left to do news coverage. But boy, it's really helpful stuff. All right, here's one of the books. Go to the Amazon page, check it out. Book number 1. That's advice for new faculty members. Look, the book advocates moderation in ways of working. Moderation. Don't work too much in a given day. Look, new faculty can use its rule-based practices to write with ease, increasing productivity, creativity, and publishability through brief daily sessions of focused and relaxed work. You don't try to clear out a whole day and work too much in a given day. Brief daily sessions of focused and relaxed work. And another great thing about doing it that way is if you commit to only doing a certain amount of work each day on a single project, then once you do it, you're done. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to be like, oh, I should be doing more on it. You can just be like, I did my half an hour or 45 minutes on it today. That's it. It won't be productive for me to do more, which lets you relax. Then here's the other one. If I can find this for you. Professors as Writers. A self-help guide to productive writing. I posted the links. As an Amazon associate, I earn for qualifying purchases. Here's a proven book to help scholars master writing as a productive, enjoyable, and successful experience. This description could be better because it could give you some of the ideas, but man, so helpful. I should go, every year or something, I look over these and kind of read through them again. Moderate over-attachment and overreaction. Really emphasize working in brief daily sessions rather than trying to, do these massive writing sessions. Something really emphasized. Write in small, regular amounts. If you're writing regularly, 30-minute sessions may be adequately productive. Resist the temptation to extend normal sessions into binges that leave you feeling burned out on writing. That's from Robert Boyce, Professors as Writers. Anyways, I found these two books really helpful. But it's also helpful to read like rules. That way you're not like now. If you're going off of rules that someone's given you, you're not just like, I'm not sure about this method. Now I can say, no, I think somebody says this method works and they seem to know what they're talking about, so I'll go with that. Callie Voltaire says, this is so helpful. I have to write every day. I'll read his books. I think you'll really like them. Again, if you just, especially if you write. Callie Voltaire said, you motivated me to start working on my legal memo, working on part of it now, LOL. Yeah, I mean, we all have these projects that we don't want to work on. But you can give yourself, it's easier if you say to yourself, I'm not going to do the whole thing now. Like there's sometimes I have work, I'm going to work on something, and I just say to myself, okay, I'm just going to start it. I'm going to do 20 minutes. That's it. With low expectations. I'm just going to do something. And it ends up being productive. Anyways, if anyone actually looks at those books, let me know how you like them. Because I thought they're really helpful. But that's how I've been working on this script. Honestly, that's how I've worked on this script. It's all short, daily work sessions. And eventually it just gets done. And you're much more productive because your brain is fresh every day you go back to work on it. Also, it lets you keep your focus because I'm not going to be working on it that long today. So you just you keep your focus, you get into it, and before you know it, you've done your half an hour, 45 minutes, or whatever. Prosy says, I used to love to write, but my doctoral dissertation left me burned out. And then you have time to do other things because you're not sitting there for 7 hours trying to work on one thing in a day. Yeah, I meant to talk about that. I forget how helpful it's because I have so incorporated it into my way of working. I forget the fact that I actually was probably 8 or 9 years ago first read about this kind of way of working. Marzel says I can only free flow write when I'm doing something else. Everybody has their individual methods and stuff. So anyways, let me know if any of you get this or you look it up. Maybe your local library has the books. Get them for free. I'll have to go through these again and maybe I'll give you a couple other things from them. I have all this, I have a bunch of notes written in these books. So good. Some of it's helpful for teaching too, but it's not all about, a lot of it's about writing. There's a whole chapter on, there's a chapter in this book, Advice for New Faculty Members, called Begin Writing Early Before Feeling Ready. Beginning early, well before you usually do or want to, requires constant patient practice. Make yourself start. The general idea is make yourself start and the motivation will follow. So much good stuff in here. Something else, there's this whole method he talks about, like when you're writing something where like the idea is you can start by just getting some notes down. You don't have to start by writing the whole thing in its final form. You just start by throwing some stuff down, some ideas, maybe some bullet points. Then you can go back to it and you start revising it a little bit and you flesh it out a bit. And before you know it, it looks like it's kind of starting to look like the final product. But you don't. The idea is that you're not trying to do too much all at once. All right. Enough about these books. Anyways, again, I posted the links in the chat. Robert Boyce, Professors as Writers, and Robert Boyce. The other Robert Boyce book I told you about was Advice for New Faculty Members. Both great books with great advice about writing and just methods of working on a project. I recommend them. There you go. There you go. I don't think we'd ever talked about that before. Now I know I got to look them over again. Callie Voltaire says, I bought both books. I think you're going to like them. If you don't like them, you can return them. It's Amazon. But I think you will like them. I really do. Let me know, Callie Voltaire. I found them very helpful. We hadn't talked about that before. I guess more generally what I would say, I recommend those, is be open to, we all have to work and get stuff done. But I think it's kind of rare to actually study how to work. Study methods of working. But in my experience, once I actually looked into methods of how I worked and questioned how I worked, when I changed my methods of working, it helped me be so much more productive and happy with my work experiences. So, generally speaking, I think it can't hurt to just look into your work process, whatever you do. Maybe you find a different process that works better for you. Sarah says, I do that with cleaning too at the end of every night. No matter how tired I am, I still put 30 minutes aside just to do something. That 30 minutes makes a difference. Rita, the two books were Advice for New Faculty Members, but a lot of it's about writing and working. And the other one is Professors as Writers, a self-help guide to productive writing. They're both by Robert Boyce. Robert Boyce. If you look up Robert Boyce on Amazon, you'll find them. I'll post the links one more time. But he's the guy. Brian says, I've been struggling to write my autobiography for the last 15 years. It's a struggle keeping focused. Yeah, like big projects like that, this stuff really helped me with it. It really did. Do they apply to lyrics writing? I think they apply to any kind of big project you have. I think a lot of the rules about writing apply to working in general. Any kind of project where you have to get a bunch of stuff done. So I could certainly see it applying to lyrics writing if you had a certain stuff you want to get done. A link for the books I wrote. Oh, if you want to look those up, just look up my name on Amazon. You can just look up my name on Amazon. It's pretty easy. Anyways, all right. Well, that was a little bit of a digression. Rita likes the book Getting Things Done and the E-Myth Revisited for small business type stuff. Yeah, if you can find a book that applies to, what you're doing, adjusting your methods. Rita likes this one. I've never read this one. Getting Things Done, The Art of Stress-Free Productivity. Rita likes that one. I think that's the one she likes. Anyways, if you've never read a book about work process, try checking one out. I bet your local library might have one if you don't want to buy one. By the way, if you've never done it, pretty much every city I live in has a local library, and you can get a library card, and you can request a book from other libraries. So my local library, I wanted this book. They didn't have it, but they're in this network of libraries, and they requested it from another library, and it was there in a couple of days. So check out your local library. They have catalogs online. You might maybe you can get some books there you'd like if you've never checked it out. Hallie Voltaire likes How to Fail at Almost Everything and Still Win Big by Scott Adams. Life-changing. That's one that she likes. Maybe you find a different one that works for you. Yeah, that's the one that Callie Voltaire mentioned. Richard Williams says, who wrote the book that tells you to throw things out unless they... what is it? Something Joy? It's what's her name? She has some videos too. I forget what her name is. Someone in the chat will know. That's helpful too. Spark Joy, that's what it is, as Sarah says. Karen said, maybe these books will help my child who wants to be a lawyer calm down and just breathe. Marie Kondo, everybody says. Thank you. That's an example of, somebody who's giving you a process that can be helpful. All right, guys. I think it's 1:41 a.m. I think we're getting to that time. It's getting late. It's time. When I'm done with my script, I'm going to go over these books again. It's been too long since I went over them again. But hey, thanks for joining me for the very late night live stream. Richard has shirts from 1983. I appreciate you joining me for this late night stream. And more streams coming soon. Hopefully I don't miss news because I'm having a graduation tomorrow with no cell phone service. Key says always wants more stream. Hey, big thanks to our moderators. AJ, thanks so much, AJ and Sarah. And Linda Belk was here earlier. Thanks for modding. Lookner channel on Twitter. Don't forget, I was posting updates there today about when we were going to stream. Lookner channel on Twitter. See, I was posting updates. Yeah, Brian, you might write these books. It sounds like you're working on a big writing project. You might find these helpful. Good luck with the project, Brian. Thanks to our viewers, all you guys, our lurkers and our non-lurkers. Karen, Arizona Jumper, Key says, Marzell, Jerry S., Callie Voltaire. Now I got a few chapters, oh my gosh. Wesley Downs, Fahrenheit 451. Dallas Alice, Teresa Fowler, Sam Stamos, Little Bird. Puzzle Mama. Says, spent several years as a library assistant. Best job I ever had. Isaiah's granny, Cherry Cola. Thank you. No, I'm not bringing any extra stuff tomorrow. I'll give her something at some point. Jane Byer, thanks for watching. Yeah, looking forward. 40 Love Styles says, looking forward to hearing about the graduation. Marzell, thanks for watching. Darren Markley, Ziggy. Jed B. Puzzle Mama. All right, guys. It is late. It's 1:45. We got to wrap this up. We got to wrap it up. Oh, thank you, Hetty. That's so nice of you. Hetty Silovitz. Thanks so much, Hetty. Thanks also for the donations, Eddie Smith, Linda Gordon, and Karen. So nice of you. Oh, thank you, Rita. Rita says, leaving Friday for vacation in Arizona. Have fun. We'll be lurking while chillaxing. See y'all on the flip side. Thanks, Rita. Hey, Rita, have a great vacation in Arizona. HM with, thanks for watching. Namo Westy, thanks for watching. Oh, thank you, Arizona Jumper, too. So nice of you. Thanks for the #1 sticker. That's very kind of you. Thank you, Arizona Jumper. All right, guys. It's time. It's our time to wrap this up. Amy Williams, thanks. Amy says, I hope you find some good service for your phone. We'll see. It's going to be very stressful tomorrow. Thanks for watching. All right, guys. That is it. I really appreciate you joining me. And thanks again to all of our moderators. Thanks, Sarah and AJ, for staying up late. And all of our other mods who were here earlier as well. Linda Belk and the others. All right. Rick Hoppy, thanks for watching. Everybody else, that is it now for now. Thanks, guys. We will see you very, very soon.